I'm gonna take y'all on a walk with me. I do a lot of thinking while I'm out on a walk. I don't think you can see it, but we scared up a deer. Let's see if I can get her. See her? Hard to see. Anyway, I do a lot of thinking when I'm out on these walks, and I apologize for my heavy breathing, but we are on some rough, slippery trails because there's been so much rain. Yeah, just thinking a lot about what's going on in our nation. It's got me pretty worked up. Like a lot of people, I was busy with my head down for a long time, just working, trying to make a living, all that kind of stuff. And it's gotten to the point where, we just can't be quiet anymore. We literally picked up our life, uprooted our entire life. 2 businesses where we were making good money to leave the state of Nevada because we could see where they were going with the socialism. Listen, folks, it doesn't matter what kind of bullshit narrative and story these propagandists perpetuate and come up with and spew. Socialism has never worked anywhere it's been tried in the entire history of the world. Nowhere. The only people who ever get rich off of socialism, that socialism ever works for, are the people who are already powerful and already rich going in. I hear all these young folks spouting off about capitalism and how terrible capitalism is. It's so dangerous and it's so bad. And yeah, crony capitalism is a bad thing. But I want to tell y'all something. Entrepreneurship is capitalism. Okay? Being your own boss is capitalism. Having an idea or a product and taking that from the thought in your brain to something that you can sell and make money on, that's capitalism. You want to be in, you want to work on Instagram, you want to be an influencer? Yeah, that's capitalism. So do you know what happens in socialism? You spend all that time building up these businesses, if you're even allowed to build these businesses, making a name for yourself, building a life for you and your family, and the government says, I want half. I want half of what you've worked for. And usually half isn't enough. And next thing you know, they want 60%. And then they want 70%. And if you don't believe me, do some freaking research on your own. There are many places, a lot of them in Europe, which these young socialists often point to, where they have 60% tax. Why should the government, or anybody for that matter, get 60% of what you have struggled to build and create? And often they take that money and they don't wipe out hunger. They don't wipe out poverty. They don't wipe out homelessness. They don't wipe out abuse. No. The elites who wanted socialism in the first place just get richer, just get bigger mansions. Now they're in castles ruling over the rest of us. I don't think that's really the kind of life most of these folks who are saying rah-rah capital or rah-rah socialism actually want to live. Have the freedom to have the choice. We came from a place that had a huge amount of homelessness. Probably, and these are not actual statistics, this is my own guess, but I'm sure there's stats out there. Probably 20% were people, probably less than that, probably 10% were people who just wanted to live that way. They just want to live what they consider totally free, where they're not beholden to anybody. They don't have to pay rent. They sleep where they want. They eat what they want. They do what they want. Of the remaining 90%, probably 40% are drug addicts. They've just ended up there because they're not ready to get clean and sober. And the rest are people with acute mental health issues. So back in the 80s, the liberals sued their way through us not having any more ability to treat these people. See, it used to be that if there was somebody who had schizophrenia and they ended up homeless out on the street, we as a society had the power to take them off the street and put them into treatment. Well, we did away with that because, that's against people's individual rights. Okay. I could go on and on with lists of things like that the liberals have decided we should change and alter for the quote-unquote betterment of humanity. So now you have places like San Francisco, which you have hundreds of thousands of people just crapping in the street, crapping in the gutter. Is that a good life? Is that a good quality of life? Do you think that's what these people really choose and want for themselves? Here's some more things to look up. The majority of big cities in our country are run by liberals and socialists and have been for years, for decades. So if socialism and liberalism is so wonderful and the answer to all of our problems, why are these cities constantly out of money? Why are they dirty, drug infested, have huge homeless problems, run down? Come on, Skunky. Right? Because this is supposed to be a cure-all. They're supposed to have all the answers. So now we're to a point in our country where the elites, and let me just make this clear, I know I'm picking on the liberals and the socialists because that is a big problem, but when it comes to corruption and power grabs and the elite trying to become more powerful and more rich off the backs of the rest of us, that is not confined to one party. We have just as many evil, nasty, deceitful, corrupt Republicans as we do Democrats. Okay? It's not a party issue. It's a heart issue and a mindset issue. The big difference in my mind is we also have the majority of the people who are fighting for our constitutional rights and our freedoms tend to fall on the right side of the aisle. Now, the propagandists will tell you that's because they're all for big business. That's all they care about. Okay, I have a couple of different responses to that. One is that, who do you think most people are employed by? If you are not self-employed or an entrepreneur, you're employed by some business. In many cases, it's a big business. So to vilify them and demonize them, I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to go. I mean, it is if socialism is your ultimate goal. If your ultimate goal is to get rid of, capitalism and people's ability to work and build and create their own dynasties and destinies, then yeah, for real, let's vilify them. If, on the other hand, you understand that capitalism is the way to freedom for the majority of the people, but yes, we've run into some problems over the years, then you work to fix those problems, not eliminate the entire system, okay? And then you've got a bunch of people who are just in it for the power, pure ego and power. And then you've got a bunch of people who got caught with their pants down, literally. They literally were caught with their pants down. They're on video. There are photos of them. A lot of them are people in high positions of power and celebrity that were caught with children because it's evil and it's a sickness. And they are desperately, desperately working to make sure that the people who are onto them lose and are shut down. And then you've got a segment of folks who are globalists. They truly believe in a new world order and a one world order where the super elites and the super powerful rule over the rest of us, and we all live by their rules. Look at China. They're one of the big players there. Any socialist country or country that's gone towards socialism, you will see that their folks have to live by an incredible set of rules and conditions and burdens and taxes. And their desire is to assimilate everyone so that you no longer have individuality and independence. And the country that stands in the way of this the most is the United States. So they've got to get rid of us. The US has to fall for these folks to get what they want. So all of these different things are going on, and it's been going on for a long time. And while it's been going on, those of us who have been working for a living and trying to build our own, create our own destinies, build our own companies, all that stuff, we've been so busy working with our heads down, we haven't paid attention to what's been going on. Here was the big eye-opener for me. When we knew it was time to leave Las Vegas, and we were trying to decide exactly where to go, Skunky's gonna poop, so I'm gonna take the camera off of him. We really wanted to go back to Oregon because we both love Oregon. We love the Northwest, and that's where we wanted to go. And unfortunately, Oregon and Washington and now Idaho have been overrun by the socialists who have pretty much destroyed the state, made it very, very challenging to be a capitalist, to be an independent person. I could tell you some stories out of there that you would call me a liar because they are so incredible what these socialists have managed to do up there. But anyway, my husband is from a little town called LeGrand. He's not from there, but his family's been there for a long time. They're in the eastern part of Oregon. I think they got about 10,000 people. They got a little university. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. It's a hard area to be a realtor because you already have to be established. You have to have a lot of connections. I didn't have any. So I started thinking maybe I wanted to do a different job. So I get on the internet, on the old Craigslist and some other job sites, and I start looking, and I see this ad paying really good money for that area. I think they were paying $15-20 an hour, which is really good money for over there for a job that really doesn't take any skill. And it was a nonprofit organization that was sending people in to help educate the community on progressivism and progressive values. Yeah, folks, that's socialism. They literally are paying people to go in, spread propaganda, and try and change these conservative areas into socialist areas. That's how they've taken Washington. That's how they've taken Oregon. They're working on Idaho. They're working on Arizona. They are working hard on Texas, boy. They have got to flip Texas if they have a hope in hell. The reason they were all so surprised whenever Trump won was because they cheated and they thought they had it in the bag. And so now they're going to really cheat. They're going to do this mail-in ballot where they can send 100 ballots to one house, have them all vote socialist, whether they're dead or alive, whether they're registered conservative or Democrat, it doesn't matter. They will all vote for crazy Joe Biden, and they will try and steal the election. They've already attempted a coup. The media is in their pocket, so you don't hear about it unless you hunt for information. But that's what's happened, folks. A coup on American soil, and the media is covering up for it. We are in a sad, sorry state. So I'm not going to be quiet anymore. My husband's not going to be quiet anymore. 20 years he served this country in the military. 20 years. And they talk to him like he's dirt. No, we're not doing it anymore. So we're going to have a little bit of politics mixed in with our homesteading and entrepreneurship and all that good stuff. And I would love it if like-minded folks would speak up. Not too interested in having a discussion with people who don't get it. But if you're respectful, I'll discuss it with you. No bullies, though. So that brings us to the end of today's walk. And I'm sure I'll have more to yak at y'all about next time.